In this video, we're going to demonstrate how to install UCView digital signage on a Windows platform server. So basically, you're going to get the download files, which would be on from our website, download it to your computer, and double-click it. What you're going to see is the Welcome to UCView server setup wizard. So at that point, just press Next. Now, you're going to specify where the server is going to install, so you can actually change the folder to anywhere on your hard drive, or keep it as a default under Program Files, UCView server. So you can change it here to any directory or press Next. Press the Install button. UCView server is a very advanced application that will have database, web server to serve the files, including all the support and prerequisite packages to support the UCView server. So it's going to take a while to analyze your system and actually install all the packages. At that point, the server is finished. When you get this part, that means the server was successfully installed, and you can basically keep the checkbox here to launch the server. So let's click Finish. You need to install the service. So that point is very important, that you install the service and make sure it started correctly. This is a very crucial point on functionality of the server. If that process is not completed as you see here, then you will need to contact our support and check why it's not finished correctly. This is basically the service that will provide all the web services and accessibility to the server. As you see here on the service, while it tries to start and install the service, you have the IP address of the computer you currently installed on, and you have the port, the service port that you will use. So basically, port 80 is the default web-based service. So if you open a browser and point to any IP address or a website, port 80 is the default IP. If you got an error at that point, probably it's because this port is being taken or is used by a different application on your computer. For example, Skype can hold that port, or IIS web browser, IIS web services can hold that port. So if you want to use default port 80, use that. If not, you can change that port to any other port if you would like to. When you get the green button here and the service started, the next thing is actually to open a browser. And when you click on the test web interface, if you got this, that means you got that from the server, so your server is up and running, and you can start the process of registering the server. Registering the server is pulling up your full information. Of course, it's not going to be UCView, it's going to be your company name, your address, etc. Now, username and password is really important, that point, that you remember it. So, because that's the default password for the master admin on that server. If you forget to remember that password, then you will have issue logging in later on, and you have to probably reinstall the entire solution again. So for example, as you see here, the password is matched. Make sure to agree to the term and services, and this CAPTCHA will give you by completing this form and submitting the start free trial, whether you're using a purchase server, you have to go through this process, or using a demo server. So when you get this, when you have a successful registration, you're going to get this screen, which means that email was sent to you with the activation key. So if you go to your email, make sure that you check. If you don't see it under inbox, make sure you check under spam or junk folder and look for UCView email. You'll have a key that will basically paste it here, and you will activate this application. And I will copy this URL, key, and I'm gonna paste it here. Make sure there's no spaces. Submit, and the server is registered and you're ready to go. At that point, you can just log in with your email that you register with and password. Very important to remember the password. And you can start accessing the server and configure the server and enjoy the amazing feature we have in our digital sign-in software. Don't forget that the IP address you need to use from any remote computer is basically the IP address of your computer if it's internal to the network. If you share the computer outside the network on a public IP address, then you have to use port forwarding on port 80, that your IT guy will be able to manage it or know how to configure it. If you have any questions or need our help, our tech support will be here to help you. Thank you. Concerning the server installation, a couple of more things that we need to know about server installation. Beside the server install feature that install a lot of files and information on the program files, the system, the UCView Server Manager actually get installed, which is a service running under Windows. You need to make sure this service is actually running for the server to function. So if for any reason that service is not running, or you don't get the green status here that is started, no functionality of the server will be available. On the tray, you should see after installation this icon. So when you open it up, if you want to go to the service and check the service manager, double click that or click that, you're going to give you the service manager here. Couple of things for the server. It will tell you the IP address the server is listening on, the port. The same stuff, you can go and uninstall the service and reinstall the service in case you have any kind of security issue during the install. You can try reinstalling it, uninstalling, reinstalling it here. The service, you can stop it and start it. So that's another thing to control. You can do it from the Windows services, or you can do it from here. So if you stop it, of course, all the web service functionality and listening is going to stop, so no user will be able to access the server at that point, and restarting the service. So if you want to change the port the server is running on, so for example, our server here is running on port 80. So if we minimize that and we stop the service, so it takes a couple of things takes time to the service to start, so you need to wait for it. So at that point, you see, very important to see that we stop the services. That part of stopping services and starting may take several minutes, depending on how fast your computer is and how fast the service is started on your computer. So it's not just one server. We're talking about database services, web server services. So it will take a couple minutes. But after you stop that, that's the only time you can change the port. So if you remember back to our server, so if we refresh it now, of course it's not going to be responding. Going to get site cannot be reached, and this is because we stop all the web services. So if we want to change the port, so if we start it, of course it's going to start. But if we want to change the port, for example, if we instruct by the IT that they want to run the server on port 88 instead of 80, we'll change the 88 here. We'll select, if there's multiple network card, we'll select the card that we're listening on, and we'll restart the service. So my services started here. So you see it took like a minute to start all the services. Now it's port 88. So if we go back to our web server, and I'm not going to click on that because that will take us to 88, and we refresh that page of the server, we can remove here the wizard. We see that it still cannot be reached because we changed the listening port to 88. So if we go in here and we specify port 88, we're going to get that server functioning again, and we're going to log into the server. So this is example of how you change the port. So of course, this manager is running on the server, and the users connect to it can be anywhere on the company network or anywhere in the world. Just I want to make sure that you pay attention to the service that it started and the port that you're listening on. If you're getting service not started or any kind of error, please contact our tech support so we can actually resolve it quickly. Thank you.